All right, Elon Musk, this is why I could win out in a business design strategy. I know I've done nothing with automated driving yet, but I know that these three systems are going to be key. And people are just starting to talk about this now, and I've been working on this business plan because I saw this coming a while ago. It's going to be about getting companies to feather together libraries and different companies talking about what different contributions to a central architecture will be worth. So maybe Tesla wants to own equity in Strategic Pivot. There are reasons Reed Elsevier would. There are reasons these different entities would, because it's going to grow these other markets. And whoever does this is going to protect access to contribute and collaborate on this market. That's one of the things you need to solve for automated driving. So Occupy Mars is going to look like an advanced social media product with specific features that are all about companies collaborating on differences in pitch, differences in design strategy, and this can all be built to bolster the education system and build skills webs or learning maps to success. And so because of the ways you can make this all interactive while also approaching complex architectures like automated driving solutions, there are going to be components to these technologies. There's room for competition in the marketplace. You can build a strategy where you manage this central layer in a flexible way based upon those businesses driving 80% more of market share. Now, how you might look at that in the automated driving sphere might be a little bit more complex, because some of those systems you're going to have to license. You're going to have to look at a way of regulating which licensing and which features are worth based upon insurance discussions and safety rates and potential death rates. But you want to have a system that can penalize people, and either the government does it or you create a private sector business that manages this, that is a strategy through which you can come together and collaborate on infrastructure. And the government, yeah, they can also regulate this alongside you, but now you've got this advanced tool where companies can come together, they can create a business plan to create something like automated driving infrastructure, they can host this discussion at scale and recruit through a tool like this with patent alert systems that can be built. It's a phenomenally valuable tool. And just like for our government voice, the social medias would want to compete to implement this. You're going to see the same thing in automated driving spheres, where the different companies are talking about some features that are unique to their brand. Maybe that's drive by visual, or your car being able to drive itself to your location from a parked location. Maybe some of these answers are you're driving down the road, and in order for all cars to be safe, they all have to have this specific level of capability for a drive-by visual system such that they can avoid each other. And so you make that part of the code part of a collective base, and you reward people with those types of contributions with potentially jobs at this central layer. Or you market your company that Tesla just made the roads way safer, and yeah, you should buy a Tesla because we're making the roads way safer, and here's this employer we're lifting up that reduced traffic accidents by this percentage, or reduced chances of accidents by this percentage, affected the market in this way, and so we're trying to lift them up and champion them. Maybe they get a better job at Tesla for that example, for that contribution. But there's still a central grid layer, and there are all these different ways companies can be talking about recruiting. There's probably going to be some sort of collaboration with the map companies, such that you get waypoints when you're going around curves. Sometimes you see roads that have weird intersections, and so you need waypoints for the ways people are crossing those intersections, because the lanes don't quite line up, or it's like a weird Y intersection, and so waypoints will solve that problem. It's also probably how you'll get some advanced detection of stop signs and stoplights from grid level ways these can be tied together. You can also optimize stoplights in this way with this technology based upon traffic conditions if you tie this together the right way. So it's a more advanced grid to build, and you have to come up with a way for companies to collaborate on this grid, feather together libraries with different features, but still maintain a way to operate such that you're rewarding companies based on results. In some of these sectors, it'll be based upon profits and sales. In a sector like driving, there are going to be unique features that companies like Tesla and other companies market for their automated driving systems, but there are also going to be features that are necessary for your car is only as safe as how well it can avoid other cars on the road. So you want to be talking about getting a shortwave telemetry system such that you have your All cars are sending out their roadway position, their which roadway they're on, what heading they have on that roadway, whether it's north, south, east, or west, and what lane they're in. We can talk about designing road systems such that it's easier for cars to know what lane they're in with different technology systems. That's all part of this. But you can open up this discussion to have to recruit for your team, Elon Musk, and be talking about the way to streamline building the very best system and developing all kinds of talent. Simultaneously, when we manage industrial policy, if social medias work with the government to create this phenomenally valuable way of exploring industrial policy, it makes sense to create a unique tax program where citizens, as long as the government is approving of programs alongside programs that qualify alongside, I think the private sector would be great to include in that. And so I've talked about a Fortune 500 business structure to set priorities alongside the government. And this is what I think Occupy Mars looks like. And then you can incentivize people following along with changes in the economy, following along with the job creation that's happening, such that they have the skills for the jobs of the future, and you get this all-in-one package where you're rolling out strategy, companies are talking about and trying to field and recruit talent, you can build advanced driving systems, because again, there's a unique business model that I'm saying is going to be relevant there in order to succeed, and that's going to have to do with how you reward companies collaborating on core infrastructure as libraries are feathered together. This is also your best way for compartmentalizing cybersecurity. Have a cybersecurity that operates alongside major market verticals through a company like this, and you can drive this phenomenal next step in the evolution of government as we responsibly manage the AI age and all these advanced technologies, while opening up opportunity to collaborate and sell to the public how this all comes together such that they trust it. So I'm telling you, Elon, this is what Occupy Mars looks like, and because of some of these dynamics in this business plan, there's a way to build a better model for a business that manages an automated driving grid for a population. And it's all about understanding, coming together through social medias, through this product. You don't always have to. This is more about featuring the things your company is doing. There's a way you can protect your contributions, and this can be like your first to file system. You can tie enterprise products to this, and that's part of how Facebook and the social medias can tether their brands into different management products with alert systems and market this overall patent alert system that you can build. And again, that's part of what Occupy Mars is going to look like. And it's all about understanding ways you can collaborate on this infrastructure, complex systems coming together, driving skills recruitment, and you can make a really easy to approach form of content in this system where you're partnering with a company like Mastery.com and you're creating easy to approach learning content. So you're making very complex issues very digestible because you can make tools to make these videos easily, and the different social medias compete on that. Who can make it an easier set of tools to make videos like Mastery.com makes by importing PowerPoint slides into presentations. And if you can import PowerPoint slides, there are some advanced features that you can add so that you can make these interactive quizzes. But now you have this very complex bid exploration process through which companies can come together to manage complex infrastructure like driving grids. And companies, people like Elon Musk, can field and recruit talent. This is what Occupy Mars will look like. It's governments operating through a continuous improvement program, social media is racing to compete, a user interface that looks kind of like this, where you're merging different branches of social media together into different posts that are interactive, and you try to make this roadmap to success, this skills web for people to follow along with. And with that skills web, you're going to be able to do some really interesting things with concept mapping, with building badges that you can get for contributions in different ways, a really enhanced resume system, and it's going to help us sort through this bid process. And you can even go so far with the government, because it's what's going to bail us out of national debt, to create a unique tax program such that through all these, because I can talk about an active plate system and how that will streamline accounting for us, keys to this identity access architecture. I talk about having a central layer and a cyber forest for access locking and PII data transfers. And that's different in different arenas. In medical records, that'll apply to how medical records are being actually transferred between systems. And so you can have this very advanced, multiple levels of compartmentalization approach to security by stacking security keys. And I can talk about that in more detail in some of these other slides, different levels of architecture, ways you ways you have priority partitions for GPS data, for example, and these would come from this central layer, an operating system layer in this case, but there would be this identity access layer that's between your devices, making sure only your trusted identity is pulling your information to your device. So you can build this very sophisticated architecture, but the bigger point is that if you're opening this up between companies, you can manage these evolutions, and you can get companies to come together to manage and be rewarded for contributions in different arenas. It could be that, I don't know, maybe one of the major banks wants to approach me because of the way I open up this identity products layer and it streamlines their business model. So that's what I'm trying to work for through Strategic Pivot, is to get a different, impress somebody through the ways these advanced architectures can be built, and how there's this operational strategy through which businesses can come together to manage these central layers. And that's how you create a phenomenal evolution of government strategy. You'll create this massive economic wave. So if you're Tesla, you'll sell more electric vehicles because there will be this massive economic wave to invest more in battery technology, to invest more in transitions to help the infrastructure for recharge stations. There will be all kinds of programs and additional money for businesses through tax benefits and through advanced things like that, tax credits, for making these investments. There will be more room in the economy for these transitions if you go after a strategy like this. So Elon Musk, this is how you can accomplish Occupy Mars. This is how you can get the funding for your massive economic transitions that we're trying to make. That's what will be most in it for you. And you can do this by opening up government. And just like you have to get companies to work together on how these libraries are feathered together for maximum cyberforce security and the ways you can ultimately go after architecture, there are accounting reasons why you want to go after structures like this. And you can, in automated driving, you can build the reward structures for different systems that meet specific criteria, and you as businesses can come together to manage that. With your expertise, there will be some pressure from the private sector, or I'm sorry, the public sector in terms of how that is regulated. But maybe there's another political organization that helps to follow along what's happening in this central layer and determine some of the regulations you have to meet. But you still want to see the private sector coming together to create this infrastructure that you can recruit and field for talent. Tesla could recruit somebody like me if we're talking about how to build this shortwave telemetry system, and I should just go into detail. I've got a book somewhere over here on specifically different radio frequencies, but you've got to get the industry to want to carve out a bandwidth that isn't interfered with. And so hosting the conversation in this way helps alert other development teams of the particular bandwidth you might be trying to regulate. We can't use this bandwidth anymore for other systems because it will interfere with automated driving technologies. And so, again, having a system where you're coming together, you're hosting this conversation, you're alerting different companies, this is the answer to industrial policy. There's an hour-long C-SPAN panel hosted by Gillian Tett talking about getting more the Bretton Woods institutions and bridging finance with development and worrying about people's toes getting stepped on with different things that get created relevant to these laws and the way the regulation is built. And if you get everybody in the conversation, especially for an issue like carving out a particular bandwidth for a telemetry system for automated cars, for automated driving, such that the cars on the roadway can be talking to each other, that's going to be a key part of that system. Defining how those libraries work and how these calculations, their real position based upon timestamp and their position on the roadway, all those systems have to be a tied together thing. They all have to do it the same way. So having a business design where you talk about collaborating on that and feathering together these libraries through a product like this will be what Occupy Mars looks like. And the social medias compete through this Strategic Pivot brand, just like the automated driving technologies have ways where they need to connect and tie together through different libraries. The patent alert systems, though the social medias are competing to build this model, the patent alert systems tie together. And so if you interact through this grid through Facebook, it's going to go to a central profile, and you'll still be able to interact with your stats through different social medias. there's an opportunity to do that better than the social medias in the marketplace. You're talking about the ecosystems of opportunity to contribute. So it's not like locking down a market. It's about we're coming together to build this infrastructure. And in the modern age, if we don't do it this way, it's arguable that the access to free markets is going away. And I'm very confident because of all these factors, I can build a business model that pays off the national debt and will position us for this massive economic wave that's beneficial to people like Elon Musk, but it's a stronger business model than even someone like Elon Musk is currently talking about for automated driving grids and advanced grids of the future. And that's why this is so phenomenally valuable. That's how this can position us to pay off the national debt. These unique features, it's all in the Articles of Incorporation, going so far as to create a unique tax program where you can invest. Maybe it's only 10% of what you pay in income tax. Maybe it's only 5%. But this goes into a unique program. You can't touch this money because it's part of the tax system. But you get to make an angel investment as part of the tax system to drive job growth and job development and get people to care about the skills, the things we're trying to do. It can be part of their retirement. So a company can get funding. The government gets to approve of these companies. The private sector can be a part of that. And you come together to determine how you approve key priorities. I call them continuum of human innovation. That's what I call it. But this is what Occupy Mars looks like. And you set these priorities and you get this tax program and people can invest in different companies. And in a case where Tesla might be trying to grow, because it's part of the tax system, you would make a law where you can't draw from this system until after you're 50 years old. And then once you're after 50 years old, you can start drawing from this system, kind of like Social Security. And it bolsters retirement, and it draws people into this cause. And so it's a better way of exploring the stock market. And so if you can pull people out of national debt, and it's all about job creation, that's what industrial policy is about. And you can create this tool for businesses to help recruit. While exploring industrial policy, you can create an answer that is so phenomenally valuable, it could pay off the national debt. And it's all about these skills webs and building learning maps to success as we bring different discussions into focus. Some of that will be different companies talking about differences in design, differences in strategy, and how they would operate. And that's why even an operational strategy can be uniquely valuable as the technology it's talking about supporting, for example. And so I could talk in more detail, Elon, about how you succeed at this specific social media government evolution product and the key categories to look at as part of your product stream there with the APIs that you monetize into this central brand. But I'm very confident there's a way other businesses can look at a similar model for a central layer like this. Automated driving, this is going to be key to get an answer. It's up to the automated driving solution spheres how you weight. You look at cookies logs or black box systems. This is going to be something that's going to be a part of automated driving grids. You're going to want to try to figure out which system didn't calculate what fast enough in order to avoid a crash. And so you have to look at logs of systems. And you're going to have something to regulate that. And it's best for the industry of systems that are looking at the way their systems are compatible with different systems. It's best for them to have a voice in that. So again, having a model like this where you position the private sector to be in charge of some of those operational agreements and the profit sharing, or as it would be in automated driving, it would be the penalties associated with and fees associated with systems being unsafe or not calculating something fast enough. Now that could be a drive-by visual component. It could be something necessary to the grid. It could be relevant to the way these shortwave telemetry systems are interacting. So there are different core architectures that are feathered together. It's not just one technology. Lumping it into just automated driving, if you're going to do that, talk about through a continuous improvement model, how different companies are jockeying for position there, and what skills they're trying to drive. Maybe it's a specific new component for detecting a car with greater clarity with radar in more circumstances. So how do you design that technology? And so maybe Tesla's trying to recruit by talking about how that technology might work in some very basic levels, and trying to make that approachable with mastery.com videos that entice you to learn the deeper content. And so you might see universities in the way you can navigate this web as one of the different companies there. So you might see universities down here, courses, university coursework versus articles versus topic videos like YouTube. And so you can get these different types of dissections and this interactive content where you're trying to produce these videos like Mastery.com as your entry-level form of content. And you make your market for the social medias about producing this easy to digest content for YouTube content producers and other publishers that want to enhance their content by making subjects more approachable with a documentary that's like you watch some of a documentary and then there's an interactive quiz with some animations and an interactive set of questions. By context, that could be a different set of things. And so it'll be all about building these tools for these fun, easy to digest, interactive quizzes that basically make documentaries interactive. And that's why I feature Mastery.com. And I talk about building a market for teaching assistants and associate professors through a model like International Association of Professionals, Editors and Writers. So you can scout around, and again, this will be part of the monetized product stream for this linked content, is the way you can build this gig economy system for teaching assistants and associate professors, and you can link them together as people are dissecting different content through this specific easy to approach Mastery.com training videos. And you make this market, it's just easy to produce these videos so that educators dissecting different content, trying to break things apart for their classroom, YouTube content producers can make these interactive documentaries very easily. And the social medias compete on this main page to create those tools and the interfaces for patent alert systems that relate to these skills webs and the way people are interacting and creating pages on Strategic Pivot through different social medias. This is like an advanced Facebook groups page or Twitter groups page, and it's an implementation of our voice, our government identity. So if you launch together, just like launching together with automated driving would be your solution to get these complex systems to come together, and you can market for talent. It is a government of the future. It's better industrial policy. You can put businesses in charge of, if they're reinvesting in themselves and they're trying to create job growth, if maybe you have an angel investment tax program, or even though it's only in the form of maybe a few $100s here and there, companies or individuals, you basically say, here's this, we're going to take the average market value of our company over the 1 month that you have to allocate your tax dollars. After the tax season, you would have this opportunity to allocate your funds through this system. And it's going to be tied on an identity products level. And so if you want to make this all work, you do need this identity products level. You want to do some different things. There are all kinds of things where universal product coding, having a model like I've talked about with automated driving, is necessary in universal product coding to protect the marketplace, but still get systems to tie together. And again, this is why it's going to be the Occupy Mars advanced business model of the future, or way of organizing society of the future, because it's all these things tied together. It's how you build the regulation to match what's being developed. It's how you get Cyberforce to build a library structure that feathers together and you compartmentalize security to the maximum ability possible. You have Cyberforce determine what resources and data structures a core product should have access to based upon key data flows, and they can compartmentalize those libraries and security, but still give people access to develop built on that identity network or other technologies relevant to, I call an active plate system, one of the key things for advancing accounting, because you can, a receipt is an active plate, and a plate is what you have inventory used to transfer between systems. And so you can, for universal product coding and for an advanced transaction system, it's going to be identity based, and it's going to have this active plate system for accounting. And so I can talk in elaborate detail how all the business is positioned to move for that. But the bigger point is that if you have this tool for managing industrial policy, people are aware of the ways they might be affected. Businesses can recruit for talent. You can create a really interesting tax program. And just like businesses come together to create an automated driving architecture to the best of our ability, you can open up our government model by having social medias compete on this type of user interface, this set of user interfaces with these features, specifically these skills web features. And there's a specific way you want to work with the education market to accomplish that. And that's why I talk about a central layer for the education market being relevant. But the bigger point is there's an advanced government model for how technology is feathered together. And you can build an open source psychology model for how these infrastructures are developed between companies, which will allow you to build your automated driving system. And there's a unique way you can look at articles of incorporation to drive that. And the private sector, the businesses which are steering the market, maintain control of the central layer, though they have to collaborate on it. It's a solution there. And through this overall set of strategies, you can open up government through the way you can create these jobs for these teaching assistants and associate professors to dissect content and make that all very approachable as you market more advanced coursework and concepts while building a learning map to success. And that's what an you'll always be able to click on a post and see what's between, here's this RSA advances, here's where I'm at, my background in technology, here's some relevant points that they're talking about, what's between here and there. And you're always going to be able to click on pitches or bids, different things that we're talking about with the stock market or the economy, and you're going to be able to see differences in strategy in competitors, alternate approaches, things like that. And you'll be able to navigate this all with patent alert systems. It's an evolution of the economy. It's an evolution of government. It's so many things. It is what Occupy Mars looks like, and this is capable of paying off the national debt. Thank you for watching.